Hello everyone, this is a series, What's in Your Supplements? We should also have one though on what's in your drugs, what's in the food, what's in beverages, what's in everything. Well, it's all about really the state's attorney's issue on botanical supplements. It's been in the news, you may have heard about it, may not. And this is about the issue of using DNA testing. Never done before really in this sense, where supplements were just taken off the shelf and DNA tests were run. It's a novel way of doing something. But is it really a big deal? Sounds a lot of a hoop to do about not much. Yes, nobody wants to spend their money unwisely on dietary supplements or food or some clothing that is poorly made or furniture that's dysfunctional or a toy that could be dangerous. All these things are important. But what? Wild carrot is found. Now we're talking about using DNA profiling, which is not a real common way to test for these types of things, botanicals. DNA profiling? For what? What are we looking for? In tinctures and in potentially, apparently, some solvent-extracted herbs, which the solvents or the alcohol or the tincture production process would dramatically alter the findings of any DNA testing. Not a very relevant approach. Now, if it was just pure ground herbs, nothing else in the capsule but ground herbs, maybe the DNA testing would be okay, just to see if somebody replaced, say, ground oregano with, well, no, not that stuff, but with, say, leaves. Or perhaps cinnamon maybe used to be adulterated with sawdust and bark of something that's not aromatic anyway. But so something's wrong here, and a lot of hype, but not much substance. In fact, apparently GNC and some of the others are countering this. Those who've been drawn into this, saying that they stand by the actual botanical and that they have tests to prove it. So a lot remains to be seen on what's the real factoids of this situation. Meanwhile, at the farm, well, there isn't any farm anymore. It's all factory farms. It's all industrial, isn't it? Pretty much. And, I mean, there are issues. Now, where are we at here, Mr. District Attorney, State's Attorney? How about any complaints? Anybody that came in said, hey, District, my mother dropped dead after taking this botanical. That'd be a big deal. Or, I got sick. I took this product. I got really sick. And, or my kid, this is a big deal too. My child has peanut allergy and so forth. A lot of people don't know that they could counter that and it wouldn't be such a big deal. If you read the Cures in the Cupboard, you'd find out you could counter that peanut allergy. It wouldn't have so much fear and pandemonium surrounding that with wild oregano. Oil of oregano and the whole crude herb with the Rus coriaria is a fantastic antidote and daily supplement that would neutralize that. And the data is very strong, by the way, in that the spices destroy aflatoxin. Real good data on there. But that said, that nobody wants to have peanuts or wheat in a product that says they're wheat and peanut free. Everybody knows that. But this DNA testing bothers me because, and even some top investigators in the field, like Dr. Cohen, who's commented on this article that we posted on cassingram.com and so forth, that, okay, you found some wild carrot in there. That's a good thing, actually. Well, I mean, you would want to know if it was in there, but if you had a lot of wild carrot, that's very good. It cleans out your intestines. It cleans out your urinary system. It's a good sedative. It's a good source of trace minerals. We should have some more wild carrot. But, where did it come from? Even he mentions, Cohen does, that if they picked up something like a houseplant DNA or, let's talk about this wild carrot thing. If the factory that produced it was surrounded in the ditches by wild carrot and all that stuff goes everywhere, the pollen, and it could have gotten into the plant and made its way into the supplement, God knows. But nothing's right about this. I'll tell you why. There are real issues in the United States, big ones, where carcinogenic, noxious substances are in the foods and in some supplements and in the drugs, and nothing's being done about it. Come on, DAs. You got a chance here to be heroes and save lives, real lives. And that's the GMOs, right? The GMOs have been proven by a number of French investigators and Russian investigators. See, you got to go. You got to go to France or you got to go to Russia to get the good science. You know, real science. Unadulterated, not fake science, like the work that was done on Vioxx, where they never did the studies and it got approval anyway, led to 150,000 deaths and who knows how many strokes and heart attacks. But actual scientific investigations with no bias and no financial ties, no corruption. So there they determined that, without any question whatsoever, that Monsanto's corn and soy, investigators have shown, corn, of course, in France, soy by Irina Ermakova's work, didn't her lab get burnt up in Russia, that these are carcinogens. They're decided carcinogens. They induce cancer, in some cases massive cancers in laboratory animals, and that would be expected to be replicated in humans. What's going on? DAs and DEs and 3 letters and all that? What's going on? The human race is under siege because of the financial benefits of the few that led to the approval of these extremely noxious, carcinogenic, DNA corrupt compounds into the food supply. Not just that they're carcinogenic, but they're infective. Because the plasmid technology and the use of agrobacterium tumefaciens is introducing infective DNA, infective RNA, infective bacterial and viral matter, infective plasmids in the food that when you eat it, when the animals eat it, they become infected with the material. So if we're going to spend millions and try to garner mass publicity, that should be the issue, not wild carrot and wheat starch in a few supplements. I will say, though, that this could be a little bit of a warning sign or some sort of a honesty sign for the botanical and supplement industry, that they should, or for the retailers, or for the, even though there could be a conspiracy behind this, but despite that companies should, or retailers should, demand a good assessment of the product to make sure that the raw material sources are correct. I have some personal experience in there. When I was, before I wrote that book on the wild oregano, The Cures in the Cupboard, I had the fortune of going to the mountainous areas of the Mediterranean, several countries, Greece, Turkey, etc., and meeting with the villagers about the wild oregano and harvesting. And I was excited, and they took me, I was just like a kid. Oh, this is so neat. We've got to get this understood and, get this available to the American public and so on. And so I met with them in the little village thing and in their warehouse, and then we got into that. I think I've told this story before. We got into the bags, and then one of the bags was really piquant, hot. I said, this has got to go into distilled oil. And they wouldn't let me try the other bags. And as I mentioned before, those bags, they wouldn't let me try. Finally, I got into them, and they were leaves. Now, what kind of leaves? Sumac leaves, which is an herb, which is edible, which is medicinal, but still, So what they were doing is cutting the commercial spice 9 parts leaves to 1 part oregano. So, no, we don't want to pay for that. And we don't want to pay for that in a high-end supplement. But isn't that the issue? We should try now to strive to purchase high-end supplements. Better to get like one thing that's really good than to buy cheap stuff and whatever. But again, it remains to be seen what exactly the testing is, which is being subpoenaed, by the way, by those who've been accused or whatever. and what they found. You know, but so anyway, I promised what's in a supplement. Well, here's one. Okay, this is an oregano oil extract brand or whatever. And what's the ingredients? The ingredients are extra virgin olive oil, which is the emulsification agent, and wild oregano oil. Now, that's not a big deal. I mean, I could take that, right? You could take that. What about this? This is a little more complicated. It's got a lot of ingredients in it. What is it? This is an enzyme, and sort of for inflammation, all that. Oh, can't make claims, by the way. Yeah, but that's what, you know, supporting the natural anti-inflammatory. I don't know, whatever they allow you to say. So back to that. Each capsule has in it bromelain, pineapple tops, papain, papaya, enzymes, ginger root, organic turmeric, wild rosemary, mountains from the mountains. That sounds pretty good to me. And then wild oregano oil powder. Well, what did they powder it with? You have to check that out. Well, you don't always have to be, but you do have to be concerned about GMOs and wheat, right? That's it. So, as I understand that, that's tapioca powder. That's the binding agent. Camu. That's interesting. Instead of saying ascorbic acid or calcium ascorbate, right here, this is good. Camu. That's wild or farm raised. In this case, it's wild. Royal jelly. That's pretty good. I mean, you know, not a big deal, right? Here, supplement facts. This is a cleansing agent. All right, cold pressed black seed oil. Now this is very interesting. Okay, being out there in the woods and picking and so on. Wild, raw, high bush cranberry. Whoa! High bush cranberries? They hang over on the rivers in Minnesota, and Wisconsin, Michigan, Canada, and that's a honeysuckle plant. And the bear eat that in the winter. You know, I mean, if it's good for the bear. So, and then it's wild raw, that's good cleanser, by the way, for the kidneys. Wild raw dandelion leaf extract. Wild raw, this is important. Now, there's a lot of emphasis on raw, but wild raw, that's another thing. Burdock leaf, that's very cleansing. That's, you know, for the blood. Or wild raw nettles. Oh, I like that. Wild raw fireweed, you don't get much of that around. And then clintonia, which is for cardiac. It's got a good history for cardiac support. Clintonia, in the lily family. Wild sage oil, wild rosemary, fennel, and cilantro. I like this because when it's wild, they say wild, and when it's not, they say just regular. Wild non-GMO. Whoa! Wow, this wins all the prizes, really. I mean, for simplicity. This is a raspberry sort of extract concentrate. You know, wild raspberry is very good. The animals love the tips. The deer eat the tops. Ingredients: wildflower honey and wild raspberry leaf root extract. That's good stuff. Finally, a tea, a chaga tea. What are the ingredients? We want to be careful on chaga only because of this GMO, no, not GMO, but the not farm-raised, vat-raised material from the Orient, from China and so on. We don't want vat-raised. We don't want standardized. We just want the wild chaga. It takes 20 years for a chaga to grow, 15 years. Why would I want a chaga that's growing in a vat in 5 hours? So ingredients are wild raw chaga mushroom, wild raw white birch bark, and organic purple maca root. Everything's organic, everything's wild. You can't beat that. Now, I just have good stuff here on my desk. Unfortunately, I don't have any of the bad stuff or the, well, you know, the stuff that might have GMOs in it. But I'll just teach you a couple things. If you want to know if a supplement has GMOs, then you want to look for the starches and the sugars. If there's glucose or fructose, those are from GMO corn. And if there is starch like maltodextrin, usually that's from corn. Then you could look for lecithin, though they may say it's GMO, not GMO free, but usually it's from soy, and so it's going to have some residue. And particularly now the ascorbic acid and vitamin E from ascorbic acid from corn and vitamin E from soy. Those are GMOs. So that's the little course for today. We'll see you another time.